Hey guys, welcome to the Powerful Man Show, where we help married businessmen save their marriages without having to talk about it, get unstuck, and gain clarity in their lives. As I like to say, life is too short for average. I'm your host, Doug Holt, with my co host, Tim, the Powerful Man Matthews. Now let's get this started. Hey guys, thanks so much for being here. As you can tell, Tim is gone, and we are so blessed to have a special guest visiting us again by popular demand, Mo Parks. Mo, thanks so much for being with us.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, every time we have you on the show, we get phenomenal feedback. And for those guys that don't know, you need to go back and listen to the other podcasts that Mo is on. Simply go to thepowerfulman.com/podcast and just search for Mo, and you'll see all the ones that are in there. Now, Mo's got a unique place within the movement of the powerful man. She is one of our head advisors. So, as you're coming through the ranks, if you're interested in the powerful man as an opportunity to save your marriage, Mo is one of the people that you get a chance to talk to see if it's a good fit for you. Now, not only is she an experienced coach, she's also an experienced advisor, and your husband, Mo, has been through the program as well. So you
Yeah,
are married with kids. So you have a woman's
all the
perspective
angles.
on every single angle that these guys want to hear about. So
Yeah.
thanks again for being here.
Yeah, of course. Thanks for that intro. That was very nice.
Well, that's very true.
Yeah.
I could go on and on about you, but we only have so much time. So we'll jump right into it because your topic that you brought to the table, I thought was fantastic.
Yeah.
And, guys, if you're listening to this, imagine having the opportunity of talking to hundreds upon hundreds of married business leaders each and every week. That's the opportunity that Mo, or maybe every month, that's the seat that Mo gets to sit in. And she spends hours with these men trying to help them navigate basically the dark tunnel that they're in their marriage and in their personal lives, because we have men that come in for all reasons. So Mo's got a very unique perspective. She gets to see it all. And a lot of you guys open up to Mo. So Mo said, hey, look, there's something I'm seeing as a commonality for a lot of these guys, and I want to help them out. And that's why we're here today.
Yeah. Yeah. So, one of the things that I hear most often and is very true in the business owner world is, man, like it's so busy. I'm so busy. Or like I'm hurrying from thing to thing, as though those things own them instead of like, oh, this is a choice I've made.
Yep.
Like, and I see like that's like the biggest difference where like hurry is self-inflicted. It's not something that comes upon you. And it's a reason that a lot of guys don't end up continuing with us. Honestly, they say like, well, I have a lot going on. Like, and I'm literally asking like, well, what's your priority? What's most important? Because when you look at hurry, it's because we prioritize things in a certain way. So yeah, I've seen a lot of that, seen a lot of guys just coming in and out, and unfortunately feeling like very sad and helpless in very helpless situations, but feeling even more at the waves and winds of the busyness in their lives.
Yeah, it's funny that you mentioned that, because I literally just had a conversation with one of our one-on-one clients, and he was talking about how busy he was.
Hmm.
And I asked him a simple question. I said, how many hours do you have in a day? So he goes, well, Doug, 24. You can tell he's getting frustrated because, these are rhetorical questions. I'm like, great. How many days in a week do you have? 7. I'm like, all right. So you have the same amount of time everybody else does. So what
Yep.
you're doing is you're prioritizing other things over what you're saying that you want so badly in your life.
Yeah.
And it really hit him like a ton of bricks, Mo. It really all of a sudden opened his eyes to, this is a choice, not a something that's forced upon him.
Yeah. Yeah. I see, like, for instance, the guy the other day was in the car on the way to someone, which we specifically ask guys to try to be present because this is something that's really important. And it's the most important thing right
Yeah.
now. And it's a small thing, right? I'm just driving to pick up a kid. I have kids, and same amount of kids as him actually. And he is complaining about, well, I'm running this business, but I also have this, this, and this. My wife's running a business; she has this, this, and this, and we're just roommates at this point. Like we're a functional roommate system. And I asked him, I said, is it possible that hurry and busyness has just taken over as the consumption of your lives? And he, a little resistantly said, yeah, yeah, like people are too busy to live emotionally healthy. They're too busy to live a healthy marriage. They're too busy to live spiritually rich and vibrant lives. Like they find that they busy themselves with the things that don't matter, and they end up in the positions that they're in.
They really do. And then when the marriage isn't working, in particular for men and women, right, they tend to, business owners, double down on what gives them kind of their feeling of confidence, which is their business. And they start creating side projects. So many of our men have got really successful companies. And as soon as they slow down a little bit, because things start to go better, they either start a new company, start a new side project, or something else. And then they once again get themselves in this hustle mode.
Yeah. It's almost as though the silence becomes too hard. Like it's too hard to be silent. So let's just busy ourselves with the next thing. And as a woman, when I see my man busying himself with the wrong things, I step away. Like I pull back, because it's like, you seem to be avoiding something, and that feels not safe to me. That feels scary. That feels like I don't really want to follow your leadership, because you're leading your lives into things that don't really seem to matter as much. Great example in this season, fantasy football, a literal non-existent world that men spend thousands of hours on and busy their lives with for something that's not even real. I love you fantasy, but I'm not a hater on football. I'm not a hater on men doing the things that they love. You go for it. And there can be overkill and busyness created because you're putting busyness as the wrong thing.
Yeah, I totally agree. You know, when you think about it, the one thing I like to talk about with the guys is the rocking chair test, which I'm sure you're familiar with. But for those that are newer to this show, the rocking chair test is simply just imagine yourself, in your later years, let's just say 85, right? Random number. And you're sitting on your porch in your rocking chair, sipping your lemonade or bourbon or whatever else it may be. And you're reflecting on your life. Are you happy and proud that you spent extra time managing a fake football team, right? And doing that. Now I get that you're the GM, the coach, the owner, the manager, that's fantasy football team. So, or are you super proud of all the hours you put in the office? Or are you very proud of the time that you spent with your wife, with your kids, the time that you've invested in rekindling the passion in your relationship with the one person that at one time or another? Now, I get that things might be different feeling right now, but at one time you thought this was the person I want to spend the rest of my life with. How much time in your calendar are you investing in that? Or are you just, as you're saying, Mo, are you just being busy, being busy?
Yeah. Yeah. You look at a man's calendar, you see his priorities. I mean, same way, if you look at a checkbook, you see a guy's priorities. Like you can see what is important to someone by those measures, because that, time is restricted. We do have a certain amount of hours. So there's something to say that I think there is choice in busyness. And then there's a cultural aspect to it as well. Like culture says busyness is good.
Yep.
But what if we grew up in a culture where that wasn't the case? Then our view of success wouldn't be in so much in busyness and the overload and putting more stuff on your schedule so that you have more things to achieve. And unfortunately, relationships and love are painfully time consuming. And they're like, I'd say that love and hurry in very few places can coexist. And that's what I see. That's at least from my observation of talking to like thousands of men at this point. Because I've been here a full year of talking to guys. So it's a lot of guys each month, knowing different guys' stories, different things. There's always this piece is like the little side poking thing that's there. It's always there. Like there is always this sense of like hurry and busyness, feeling value from doing certain work. And so, yeah, it's really interesting to look at that, your relationship from that dynamic.
Yeah, well, I can tell you as a man, as a business owner myself, as a serial entrepreneur, there's always like, I just got to crush this one project, then I'll have time. And right as I get to the precipice, the end of that project, there's one or two more that are on my plate. I'm like, okay, cool. I'll take a breather for a day, and then I'm going to crush the next one, because then I'll have even more time in the future to do things. And the great equalizer for anybody that's got young kids is I go into my house, because I work from home by choice. I go into my house and I have a 2-year-old daughter that's sitting there. And she does not get daddy's got to go to work. She does not get that there's going to be a future time to play. It's
Yeah.
play now, right? And that really resets you for being present. And I think as men, we can look at that and we're getting our significance in our lives from our work, especially when our marriage isn't working as well as we'd like to. So we hide out rather than doing the difficult thing, which is work on our marriage, because we just, guys, we don't know what to do. Like, what do? I don't know, but I understand how to conquer in business. So I'm just going to go there instead and hope things just get better.
Yeah, which is really I think if most people looked at their lives objectively and thought about like how do I want to be fulfilled, they would not feel fulfilled by essentially like letting their life pass by them instead of actually living it. Because that's what happens, right? In busyness, we don't end up living our lives end up living us. Like, and that's a painful sting, right? To know that I'm dumb, like that I'm actually a slave to something means I actually am not controlling it. Like I'm not actually free. Like if I am a subject to my busyness, then I belong to the waves and the whims of my schedule. And I hate that. Like I don't know about you, but that pisses me off. Like I hate feeling like something else deceived me and tricked me into making me believe that something else was more valuable than what I actually believe is valuable.
I'm with you. I mean, before we hit record, you were telling me a story about somebody else we work with and they missed a meeting with me. And I'm like, I'm not going to meet with you again because I won't put it on my schedule.
Yeah.
If you're not
Yeah.
show up and respect my time. And we said this kind of tongue in cheek, but the same time, from coaching so many men and from doing this for so long for myself, I see how that can take over, how other people can take over your calendar, how other people's priorities can take over your needs. And one thing that's congruent with the men that go through our program is what they learn about themselves is that when they put themselves as a priority, they put their development and their personal growth as a priority, everything else becomes easier. And it's crazy. I even had a conversation with a guy that and I talked about this previously, so I'm trying not to out him because he's such a great guy. But he was basically his dilemma now. He's been in the program. So he started off with the activation method, which, as you know, Mo, is our flagship program. Then he moved on to the brotherhood because he was doing so well. And he called me up and he's like, Doug, I could retire right now. Like, what? It's like, I don't know what to do.
Wow.
I think
Yeah.
marriage is going great. He's on the brink of divorce, business going awesome. I don't even have to go in the office. He's like, my dilemma now is 100%. It's a 180. Like I got so much free time. I'm making more money than I ever have. My relationship is better than I have, having more sex than I ever have. Like that was his now problem. And we both started laughing at it when the realization came, of what really was going on for him because he slowed down and allowed things to catch up to him. As Tim always says, and I really like this thing that Tim adds on, which is what if your dreams and your goals were trying to catch you? And if you just slowed down and allowed yourself to receive them.
Hmm.
I think that's very poignant.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, I love that. I think you can't address busyness and hurry without addressing the giant cultural demon of this thing, of the phone, right? Technology has lulled us into this idea that we must be doing something at all times, that we must be. I can tell you when my husband went to the Alpha Reset, they take away your phones there. And he came back and he's like, I don't want my phone anymore. Like I don't, it doesn't produce in my life really where I want my life to be. Not to say phones are bad, tech is bad, it's a gift, it's great, has its benefits. And there is this giant thing that's continually grabbing your attention and has algorithms in it to grab your attention more and more by the things that you look at and you view. Like this, I called it a cultural demon. I shouldn't say that. It's a giant, there, for me, it was just a strong word. But basically, I just, the ability to never stop is just continuing to increase with our phones. And
I agree. Oh, sorry.
It's huge. No, go ahead.
I agree 100%. But we actually don't take away guys' phones, just so you know. I can clear that up with you later.
Okay.
Nope, we do not take away. So guys volunteer to give them up. It's a small nuance, but a very important one. I want to make sure everybody understands. The Alpha Reset is like Fight Club. We don't talk about it publicly, but we don't actually take anything away from them whatsoever. There's zero requirements at an Alpha Reset. But
Oh, cool.
anyway, we're digressing a little bit. I just want to clear up that small point. So, Mo, when you're talking to these men, right, they're calling up, they're interested in the powerful men, they're interested in our program, the activation method, most likely.
Mhm.
And what are they saying to you around this topic? And can you give us, 3 things that they could do today to counter it?
Yeah, they're saying things like, "I'm busier now than I ever have been," and the relationship is saying, or in my height of busyness was when everything kind of fell apart. Was that what you're asking to like say how they're expressing this?
Yeah, yeah. What I want to do is like, you get the chance. A guy listening to this right now, he doesn't talk about this with his friends. So he only knows what goes on in his world. I know you
Right.
hear this all the time, every day.
Oh yeah.
So give us some examples of what is going on in that man's mind. Because you said earlier that guys don't continue on, but I think what you meant
Oh
is
yeah.
guys don't decide to do the activation method program today because they're so busy in their schedule that they're going to wait to a later day doing it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what are the guys saying is happening in their day-to-day lives right now? So again, I want other guys to go, wait a minute. Oh, it's not just me. And then
Okay.
also, what are a couple things that you advise them that they could do to mitigate that issue?
Yeah. So there are three main things that I feel like busy guys, and it's usually kids, work, and and tech. Like those are the three things that tend to like hold a guy's attention, is spend most of that time on their day. Granted, we are talking to business owners, so tech is a big piece of that, and I get it.
Mhm.
And they've enrolled their children in a bunch of activities that they are now busy night after night with, and have no time for their spouses. They have, and again, these aren't things that they are necessarily for them. Like, not like, oh, I'm doing a sporting event for myself to have a break for my night. And these are usually kid oriented things that they don't really want to be at, but they do it because they think it's good for the kids, or they want their kids to succeed. But another other guys are literally in meetings 24/7, and I catch them in the 1 hour break that they have taken, and they cut the call short because there's just so many things going on. It's just meeting after meeting, opportunity after opportunity, and in between that, they're just driving. Like they're driving to go to the places, and these these are guys who their relationships obviously aren't doing well. They're either being told at the door, like greeted with negativity and anger, or they're being greeted with complete withdrawal and shutting down. Women, and women who are saying things like, "You're never here," even if they are there doing everything it takes. I feel like I don't know you anymore. They're being greeted with, like, I love you, but I'm not in love with you, because the in love comes with time. The love is like, yeah, because I married you. Like, we put a ring on it. And then, other women saying, "You have no time for us. You're never here." I feel like, all those types of things. So that's what I'm hearing a lot of men say, that when they say they are busy, that's typically the feedback that the women are saying. And I think the biggest one there is, I feel like I don't even know you. Because that's a relationship. Like, to know someone is to say, I relate with that person. Do you know that guy over there? Yes, I know them. Um, Versus I'm an acquaintance with him. And there's that acquaintanceness that just happens. So as far as some things you mentioned, you wanted
Yeah, let
some
me
things that
interject real quick if I can, Mo. And
yeah.
because I love what you're saying, and I want to really drive this home because I know me as a guy. Doug, when I was going through the problems with my wife, I would have heard part of what you're saying, but not fully gotten it.
Okay.
And so I want to drive this home for the guys so they can
Yeah.
understand. So, guy, I was at an event one time, and I'll never remember the number. So every time I tell a story, it's gonna be a different number, but you guys will get the idea. There were about 5,000 people or so, mostly
Mhm.
women. And the speaker said, "Hey, if anybody ever felt their life was threatened," and a lot of people stand up, right? Okay. Has anybody felt their life was threatened in the last month? 98% of the guys sit down. Almost
Yeah.
all the women were still sitting down. Have you ever feared for your life? Was the question. And he kept on going down. How about last week? Only a handful sat down. And you're looking at the sea of women, thousands of women standing up that said they feared for their life within the last week. And then he said, what about the last 24 hours? Now, mind you, we were at this conference in a dedicated hotel. right? And still a sea of women remained standing that they had feared for their life. And part of that, when your wife is telling you, I don't even know you anymore, she is now living in the house with a
Mhm.
stranger and she is emotionally scared, right? And this was something that hit me one time, Mo, with my wife is like, I've always been raised, that kind of classic thing, which I think is good. You never hit a woman, right? You just never even a thing. So my wife one time told me that she was scared of me. It
Mm.
threw me off as a man because I was just like, what? How could you possibly be scared of me? Like, I
Mhm.
would never hurt you. And what she was talking about, guys, was emotionally hurting her. And my wife even said, I would rather you hit me than us have this relationship where we feel like strangers. So I just
Yeah.
want to, again, Mo, I just wanted to throw that, you threw that out there very casually. Again, you get to talk to so many people and that's living, but as a man to understand that the woman that I married, even though at times she wasn't my favorite person, during the battles that we had, but the idea that she was actually scared, that really hit me. And I want the other guys to really understand that the woman that you claim you're working your ass off for, busting your butt, you feel like a paycheck, she's actually scared of you because you're not connecting with her and actually spending time because you're too busy being busy. So anyway, I just
Yeah.
wanted to interject there, Mo. You had some
No, I'm
great
glad you
points.
said that because I hear it so frequently that sometimes you kind of forget the things that, like, no, I have to say, I literally say that to every guy that I speak to.
Yeah.
Is there is this sense of like not feeling emotionally safe, and they're like, "Well, I'm not hurting her," and I'm like, "No, emotionally is different than physically. Like those are two different levels that you have to master both if you want to create leadership."
You do. And as a man, you need to be a leader. And what you're saying, what I'm hearing you say, so the guys get it too, is if you're not a leader over your calendar, you're not a leader over your time, then you're not going to be a leader at home. And guess what? Your wife knows it,
Hmm.
right? She's picking up a lot more than you think she is. And it's hard for anybody to respect you because what I tell the guys, Mo, and I want to know if you find this to be true, is we train people how to treat us. And if you've trained your staff or anybody else to come to you with every fire, that you're the guy that can take care of it, right? Most every business owner listening to this has said at one time or another, I can out hustle anybody. I can pull myself up by my own bootstraps. I've worked with tens of thousands of guys at this point. We all have the same friggin' story. I had it too, right? If that's the case, you've trained people to do that. And you also have trained your wife to act the way that she is. And
Hmm.
this comes from your own leadership. Guys, if you want to know how to get on the other side of this, if you are a business owner or a C-suite executive and you want to get on a call with Mo to find out what her tips are on how you can get to the other side of this because your marriage isn't working, Mo, how can they get a hold of you?
Yeah, so you can reach out to just to our website, to the Powerful Man, and as you kind of fill out the form and write your name and everything, what you'll do is just write a note at one of the explanations. Just say, "Heard this podcast. Want to talk to Mo about more about the details." So the Powerful Man.com.
And I'll make it even easier for you guys if you want to. And I hope it's okay with you, Mo. If you email VIP at thepowerfulman.com, so that's VIP, like very important person, which you are, men, at thepowerfulman.com, and say, please connect me with Mo. Somebody that answers that email box will give you the links that you need to get on there. Mo's obviously, she's very busy helping guys. She does an amazing job. So Mo, from the bottom of my heart and for all the hundreds and hundreds of men and their wives and their children that you have saved through this program, I just wanted to thank you and thank you so much for being so selfish with your time and sharing your wisdom with us today.
Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Thanks for everything you do.
Absolutely. Well, gentlemen, as we always say in the moment of insight, which Mo's given you a lot today, take massive action. And remember, we're in your corner. All right, guys, that's a wrap for this episode. But as I always say, in the moment of insight, take massive action. You see, there are two types of men that listen to a podcast like this. Those that go on from one podcast or show to another, just hoping things are going to change and realizing that they're going to be in the same place month after month, year after year. You see, I was this guy, so I completely get it. You may just not be ready. But there's also a second man that listens to a show just like this. And this is a guy who takes massive action so they can shorten the learning curve, compress time, and get results to be the wolf. See, WOLF is an acronym for wise, open, loving, and fierce. Now, ask yourself, which one am I? And just be honest with yourself there. And there's no judgment on my end, but if you're ready to move from deactivated deer mode, which is defend, excuse, explain, react, to activated wolf, wise, open, loving, and fierce, then go over to thepowerfulman.com/grow and go there now. In fact, I'll make it super easy for you. I will even put the link right in the description here so you can just click it and go over there now to learn more. Guys, in the moment of insight, take massive action. Go from deactivated to activated, because like I said, life is too short for average. And I'll see you on the next episode.